This New York apartment is just 500 square feet, but every inch of it was designed to maximize that space. And as a result, instead of squeezing into a lesser space, it actually feels open, layered, and pretty luxurious. So what's the secret? It's not just pretty furniture. It's smart, intentional design, from layout to lighting to all these beautiful textures. So let's break down how this tiny apartment was transformed into a functional home that lives way bigger than it looks. So the first thing you'll notice here is that by using low furniture and light colors, they've made this room feel so much taller. So check this out, right? The sofa here is sitting extremely low, which frees up a ton of vertical space and just helps the ceiling feel that much higher. This is such a simple move, but it changes the scale of the whole room, right? It's got this armless modular form that doesn't block any sight lines, and so your eye moves straight past it, which keeps the entire space feeling open. Then this boucle texture gives it visual softness and warmth without adding any visual weight, so it makes it feel cozy but still airy at the same time. Then these floor-to-ceiling curtains, which are in a very similar shade to the wall, erase any kind of visual boundary, and so having this continuous vertical flow, again, just makes the room look taller and a lot more seamless. And then again, in the corner here, we've got this tall woven floor lamp that adds another vertical accent that guides the eye upward without demanding too much attention, which supports the room's goal of feeling taller and lighter. And then the art on the wall here spans nearly the entire height of the wall, which anchors the space without breaking it up. And so that vertical scale actually helps stretch the wall even higher as well. And then the layering of textures here, so this boucle, the woven rattan, all the natural wood, just brings another sense of dimension without needing bright colors or any sort of cluttered decor. Okay, now the second thing that they've done here is kind of similar, but still distinct, and that is to use tall plants to maximize that vertical space. So you can see, if we just shift our perspective here, right, to see the other half of this room, you can see that the large indoor plant in the corner is totally the star of that corner, right? It fills up that vertical space without adding any additional bulk, which guides the eye upward and makes the ceiling feel taller. And so its placement here is totally intentional, right? It's tucked into a tight corner that would otherwise be dead space, but it's not blocking any windows or walking paths. And then the lounge chair sitting in front of it has this really airy frame, right? The open weave lets light kind of filter through. And so even with furniture in that corner, it still feels breathable because the armchair is armless and low, and it tucks neatly into that window area without obstructing views or looking oversized for that space. And overall, the furniture is angled just enough to feel styled, as opposed to being just shoved flat against the wall. And that subtle shift just gives the room a sense of movement, and it feels like it's an intentional layout. This rounded coffee table keeps the footpaths clear while still adding a soft edge that contrasts the clean vertical lines of the walls and the plant here. And this beautiful vase with these bright red flowers just provides a small but still punchy focal point, so it draws your eye inward, not toward any cluttered edges. Now, the third thing they've done in this apartment to make it feel so big is using built-in seating and rounded furniture to maximize the space. And so if we again shift our perspective just a little bit more, you can see this dining zone is still in the same area as the living room. It's just kind of across this little walk path. So the circular table we've got here just really softens the layout and eliminates any harsh corners, which is important in tight spaces like this where movement really matters. Now, just like I said in the living room, hanging the curtains near the ceiling and well past the frame of the window just visually heightens the walls and expands the window area overall. And there's something kind of interesting here, right? A lot of people would put a rug around this dining area, but by not having one, it keeps the floor space completely uninterrupted and avoids any visual clutter, just makes the room feel less segmented and more cohesive. And these low back chairs don't break the sightline, which helps this small space feel more breathable and less crowded. Now, one cool thing is that they've got this built-in banquette, which hugs the wall, saves floor space, and avoids the need to push chairs back, which is ideal for tiny rooms where you don't have a lot of room to maneuver. It also gives you some more flexibility in this space because having the chairs and the bench just adapts for guests without permanently taking up up space. And because we've got this neutral wall with no art or contrast there, the wall actually just recedes and it keeps the eye moving instead of hitting a visual stop. Okay, so the fourth thing that they've done in this apartment to keep it feeling really large is to avoid the traditional set of upper cabinets and just opt for something much airier. Okay, so normally you'd see wall-to-wall upper cabinets, but instead in this kitchen, they've used just a single pair of cabinets on one end and then open shelving for the rest. Okay, so this keeps their storage really accessible without closing off the space above, which lets the eye travel much more freely. Now, the backsplash that they've chosen here is a single slab of pale marble, and so there's no tile lines or visual clutter, which just creates a smooth, continuous surface that makes the wall feel wider. And then the stainless steel appliances blend seamlessly with the cabinetry, so there's no loud black or contrasting finishes here, just a cohesive palette that keeps the kitchen from popping out too much in this small space. And by the same token, the color of the cabinets here almost disappears right into the wall, while the floating shelves provide just enough personality without making the space feel heavy. So the kitchen island isn't oversized, it's just the right footprint to double as a workspace and a dining table without blocking the flow of the room. And because the island is placed right next to the windows, it borrows that natural light and helps anchor the space without feeling bulky. This organic pendant light that's suspended over the island adds a ton of character to the room, but it's not bulky or visually heavy. Instead, it keeps the view clear and contributes to that airy feeling that they're going for in this kitchen. Now, the fifth thing they've done with this apartment that I absolutely love is using this hallway as a framed view. So the hallway is definitely narrow, but the view from the dining and living area into the kitchen is actually quite layered. And so instead of cluttering the wall at the end of the hallway, they kept it visually active with a subtle display, right? Flat artwork and low profile shelves that pull your attention forward without adding any visual bulk. And now, so if we twist around 180 degrees and look from the kitchen to the living room, you can see that they've kind of framed this hallway into a visual corridor connecting these two zones of kitchen and living room, and it makes the apartment feel more spacious and fluid, right? The sheer curtains on the left wall just soften the natural light and hide the window frames, which creates the illusion of full height windows and a larger opening. And then the floating shelves on the right wall here keep things open at eye level while still being super functional, right? There's no chunky upper cabinets that would close off the space, but instead everything just feels open and airy. And again, the low profile sofa at the end here keeps the view open. And because the hallway ends in a seating vignette instead of a flat wall, it extends the perceived depth of the home. But we've still got more to cover here, and the sixth thing I want to point out that they've done beautifully in this apartment is maximizing dead corners. I mean, take a look at these, right? Instead of wasting this particular corner, they carved out a built-in desk that adds a ton of function without eating up any floor space. They've got these floating wood shelves that draw the eye upward, making the ceiling feel taller, and the nook feels really intentional as opposed to being a leftover space. And the furniture here is low profile and pretty leggy, which keeps the floor visible and the space feeling really light. And they've done something pretty similar in the bedroom as well, right? The plant on the windowsill just pulls attention toward the window, emphasizing its height and light, which is a classic trick for small spaces. And notice how all the elements here, including the radiator and the plants, are lifted up off the floor, which lets the tile and the walls stay open and just really visually clean. And the seventh thing they've done to make this apartment feel bigger than it actually is are a couple of interesting things going on in the bedrooms. Okay, so first, the brick wall is painted white, which instantly bounces the light around and makes the room feel bigger and brighter. Then they've got these layered brown tones of caramel, cocoa, kind of cream, which creates visual depth without adding any clutter. And then the bedside lighting here is integrated right into the headboard, which is a clever way to avoid separate lamps or sconces in an otherwise pretty tight layout. Now in the second bedroom, we've got this bold matte black accent wall, which is adding a ton of drama without making the space feel smaller thanks to the large window and the sheer curtains that are softening that contrast. They kept the color scheme of the bedding earthy and tight using terracotta, navy, and sand colors, which makes the whole space feel really curated. And the furniture here is scaled perfectly. We've got this really slim side table and flush mounted sconce that take up almost no floor space, which gives the bed just a little bit more breathing room. And so you make a small apartment feel spacious by layering height, light, and texture, and using furniture, layout, and finishes that stretch the room instead of crowding it. And when design is this intentional, square footage stops holding you back and starts working in your favor. So if you enjoyed this video, I've left links to a few others in the description below, or you can check out this one up here, which YouTube thinks you're going to love. I'll see you there.